All right, there's been some skepticism on Reddit regarding my claims to be descended from the Cherokee, but fortunately, my grandmother, my mother's mother saved everything, and she did this huge book of remembrance for my mother. So this is from her point of view, and so this would be my mother's mother, and here she is at age 18, kind of a hottie, 1947. All right, and her name was Dorothy Mae Sanders. And so note here, left, my mother, age 11, right, is first cousin Juanita Marie Sanders. This is 1940. And so if we turn the page over, we have her right out of the starting gate here at age 5, and so forth. So she's the one who put all of this together, Dorothy Mae Sanders. And she married this individual, Samuel G. Wagonseller. He was a rocket scientist. It's a great classic sort of 50s photo of them. Really cool. And here's her certificate, Dorothy Sanders, grammar school certificate. So that's her. All of this is concrete and very well documented. So now let's take a look at the application here for the Eastern Cherokee's application of James Madison Sanders, Indian Office, Eastern Cherokees, October 19th, 1906. All right, so let's take a look here at this page that I've marked. And here we have the full name, James Madison Sanders. Notice that underneath the English name, it says Indian name. Whatever that is, I can't pronounce it, something. But that's so he had an Indian name. This is James Madison Sanders, her great-grandfather. And this is their application here to the Bureau of Indian Affairs to get tribal cards and so forth. My tribal card number is 351460 for those of you who are interested in looking that up. So I'm 132nd Cherokee, and here is the documentation to prove it. It's all right here. They were making fun of me on Reddit, saying that every white who says they're part Native American always says they're Cherokee for some mysterious reason. It's never the Tlingit or the Hopi or more obscure tribes even than that. But in this case, it's all documented. It's all here. It's all documented. See, I never say anything without documentation and concrete evidence backing up what I say. Unlike the ignorant incels on Reddit who get on there and opinionate and think that because they can opinionate do these knee-jerk opinion reactions, that somehow that gives them legitimacy, that somehow they exist, they're alive. Look at me because I can hurl darts at you. Except that I've created culture. I've actually done something with my life. I've created 30 plus books. Go through them. 5 or 6 collections of poetry, 3 novels so far, and a whole bunch of cultural criticism. And these little nitpickers, these little incel males playing their video games who are sexually frustrated so they have nothing better to do than hurl darts at someone like me who has actually accomplished something and actually contributed something to American culture. So I want this to be official. I want it to be documented. I want everyone to see this just so they know they're not going to get away with tarnishing my reputation by saying my pedigree is false and I've made it up. Oh, no, it isn't. It's concrete here. Everything is documented thoroughly. Future scholars are going to love this, the John David Ebert scholars of the future, and yes, they will be. They will exist. They're going to love this, that my grandmother did this for them. It will save them a lot of work, time, and effort. All right, and all of this came about in the context of my criticisms of Cormac McCarthy, whom I do regard as a great American writer. There's no question about that. He's had a huge influence on my style, my writing style, but not my worldview. McCarthy's worldview is that the world is degenerate, corrupt, and fallen. It's perfectly consistent with Christianity, which is a wrong worldview, just as McCarthy's worldview is a wrong worldview. He doesn't get it. He has no sense of humor. There's no light touch to him. The world is just a piece of shit as far as he's concerned. And now, if we step outside the context of Blood Meridian and we zoom out so that we include the Border Trilogy in there as well, this is a man who loves cowboys and who is lamenting elegiacally. The Border Trilogy is an elegy for the vanished way of life that he romanticizes, namely cowboys who conquer Native Americans and put them to the yoke. Admittedly, the cowboys in Blood Meridian are absolutely degenerate and corrupt. No question about that. But when we factor in the Border trilogy with his sympathetic, oh, they were so nice. They were just such nice people, these cowboys. Oh, we've lost that way of life. Industrial society is killing them. That's the thesis of the Border trilogy, this lament for a way of life that involves, and he's a Southwestern writer, but the problem with him becoming the apotheosis of the American Southwestern writer is that would have to include the Native Americans in a compassionate and sympathetic way. You won't find that in McCarthy. I'm sorry, you won't. You'll find it in my novels, though. Every Angel is Terrifying and Motorcycle Girl Descends into Hell both contain very appreciative and sympathetic attitudes toward the Native Americans of the American Southwest. So insofar as you want to support McCarthy and his condemnation of all things Native American, have fun with that. I agree that he's a great writer in terms of style, in terms of the writing, not in terms of the worldview. This is a man whose worldview was based on hatred, hatred of the world, hatred of people. It's no surprise that he went through 4 or 5 marriages or whatever it is. This is a man full of hatred. There's no irony, no sense of humor, unlike, let's say, with Thomas Pynchon, where every page contains a great laugh on it. Pynchon is by far a much greater writer than Cormac McCarthy. I will defend that thesis to my grave. Okay, that's all I had on my mind for the time being. It's always good to get things in writing. Concrete, which the Reddit guys don't have. All they have is their knee-jerk opinionating, their geek, pimple-faced, nerdy, semen-encrusted finger pointing because they've been spending all their time watching porn and they've got nothing better to do than play video games and complain about why they can't get women. It's because the women sense these guys are not bread earners. They're not. And they sense that correctly. They're 100% correct in that perception that these guys are not bread earners. All they can do is sit in their dark little dungeon basements or garages or whatever they're in and do knee-jerk opinionating and think that they matter. They don't. They don't. I've got concrete documentation here. The future John David Ebert scholars are going to love this stuff. All right.